All right, moving right along. Let's welcome Siri Eklund.
That's right.
From Two Bright Lights.
Oh, come on! Woo, woo.
And whenever you're ready. That should go. The second we put a PC on, it throws everything into hell.
What?
We've got all Mac, so it works.
Okay, hi everyone. I thought I'd give a little bit of background about Two Bright Lights first. I'm a little different in terms of the other presentations that you've seen here. Two Bright Lights is more of a media play that has a large influence in the wedding industry. So kind of take yourself back to 1995. And some of you probably are in, I don't know, elementary school, who knows? I was in high school, or actually college, and the real world was the thing everyone was talking about. It turns out a guy from my high school class, Michael Johnson, was in the real world, and that's all I really knew about it, actually. And then a couple years later, it was all about Survivor. And Survivor, I had a friend from business school, actually, that was on Survivor, and that's all everyone was talking about. And before you know it was Big Brother, and then now we have the Desperate Housewives. So basically, reality TV became a part of the livelihood of all of us. Network producers loved it. The economics are terrific. Why pay high-priced actors and writers when you can have people lining up around the block to be on your TV show? So that was kind of, reality TV was so great economically. And just in a nutshell, Two Bright Lights is exactly that concept, but for photos. And interestingly enough, that was happening in the mid-90s, early 2000s. We launched about 4 years ago. And we have over 15,000 photographers in 100 countries now that use our product. And why are we a little bit different from the traditional stock photo agencies, which there are tons of them. There's Getty and Corbis and Shutterstock. And we differ in 4 particular ways. So the first one is we are real photos. There are no dodgy handshakes, those totally staged photos where everyone has their hand on their chin. We don't have those. We also focus on albums in terms of collections. So if you go to a typical stock agency and you like a photo, there's really no editorial story there because they're one-off images. Thirdly, we really focus on the people behind the images and what they're about. So we're really metadata rich. We showcase the photographer. We have where it happened, what venue they were at, who the cake designer was, what the dress type she was wearing. So we have all sorts of information. And lastly, we're a different model in that we really focus on a different revenue monetization strategy. So most transactions are that's where that money happens in stock photos, and people pay on a per-use basis with different licensing fees. Two Bright Lights is different in that our photos have already been paid for by the couple in many cases, or the family that hired the photographer. So we're a SaaS-based model, and our editors and photographers pay to be a part of our network, and it's essentially like a matchmaking service. So that's it in a nutshell. I thought I'd take you through a quick demo in my 2 minutes. So first, I'm going to start from a photographer's perspective and show you kind of how the process works in terms of our service. So how it works, a photographer will log in, and they will essentially create a new album. And when they will go through a quick process, they'll add in various information. So in this case, I'm going to create a wedding. It's going to have happened it's a wedding day. And I will be adding in a little pithy title in terms of, California sunshine. This is a little hard to type with one hand. We're going to put various information in terms of the bride and groom's name, the event date, where it happened, a little bit of a story here. So I was going to make a story about Tiffany and Matt getting married. We'll then go through and we add various information in terms of tags and vendors. This is really hard with one hand. Anyway, I will put in a name here quickly and we'll move forward. I feel like I have a time bell up there. Okay. So this is how it works. We put a little bit of an album together, and then I'll show you a completed process in just one sec. But the point that's different about Two Bright Lights is we really focus on the collaboration of the people part of it. So the next step, after we've created a location, we can add a different vendor. We have over 90,000 vendors in our database, and you can quickly add them through this service. I'm going to click Private Residence to keep moving along. And then you can add all sorts of different designers and various things. So if I were to search on cake, we'll have all sorts of them that will come up, and I can select one from our list. And we basically have the photographer adding, 5 to 10 vendors, depending on the category. And we'll add First Frost Cupcake Factory here and add them to our vendor listings. And then we move on next, which is tagging. And we'll go through and create all the different tags. So this was an alternative wedding that was a destination. We had an Asian couple, and it was actually a 4th of July celebration. And we hit next. And then we have our album shell. And then after that, we go through and we add various images. Through our uploader, we have a Dropbox plugin that takes just a few seconds. And in the end, what you get is an album. So we have, here's an example of one of our albums. And this is what is then we create a submission, which I don't have time to do. But you create a submission, which if you go through 4 or 5 steps, and you can essentially select from over 500 editorial partners. And this is what the editor actually sees as well. So it's kind of what you see is what you get. So there's a beautiful cover image, all the different wedding images from that collection. There's all the album info, different vendors are associated with it, and then the editor can decide whether they like it or not. And if they decide to choose it, they hit accept, put in a date, and then they're able to download the images directly to their desktop. And that's it. And that's happened now 50,000 times, which is really great. So I'm happy to answer questions in my 4 minutes, because I'll keep myself on time.
Excellent. Thank you, Siri.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hi. I was wondering if you could speak a little more to the benefits of being an editorial partner or publisher on Two Bright Lights. I know I've heard of you guys from quite a few of my friends in the editorial space, and I was just wondering how you make it easier for people who are in editorial to be able to find images that are curated that would fit well with their blog or website.
Sure. So I've just flipped over to an editor's portal side here. And this is what they see on their end. In this case, they have this account has 42 active submissions. And all of the information is kind of ready at their right away when they see it. They'll have a cover image and all sorts of information in terms of how many images are available, how many vendors are associated with it. And then what's great, what makes Two Bright Lights totally different than your typical platform where if I get a Dropbox link, for example, is we actually allow people to manage the content. So photos are pretty intensive in terms of size as well. So you can be downloading a gigabyte if you have 150 high-resolution images. And we make it really simple for them just to press a button and it downloads right to their desktop rather than having to sort through Dropbox. You can easily review what the photos actually look like at a glance. So typically before Two Bright Lights, people would get a photo disc and they would actually be like clipping through on Bridge, and then they weren't sure if they liked them or not. They never knew if the vendors, like who they were associated with. In this particular case, we have all of the information right there for them. They can click generate code, generates all the information. They just plop it right in their blog. And the other thing that's different about Two Bright Lights is it creates a social network effect, and that we notify everyone involved when they're published. So if an editor features through Two Bright Lights, goes to the photographer saying, congratulations, here's the link. It also emails everyone else associated with it. So the cake designer and dress designer and venue, they all find out too. And we have built-in social media with Facebook and Twitter, so there's this great viral effect of people knowing that they've been published, which previously the cake designer had no idea that they'd actually been published, nor did the venue. And this way they all find out the same. And you also have a great bulletin board. There's you can post a request, and you can read, we have actually over 1,000 requests right now from our editorial community asking for specific things. So if they're looking for a wedding in Montana, they can post it there rather than just kind of tweeting out into the ether. There's people that actually go and read those, and they can filter accordingly to what they have to offer. Mm-hmm. Yes?
I'm back here now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
One is, are any of your editorial partners doing print, or are they all online blogs?
Oh, we actually have a ton of print magazines. We have 17 print magazines with the Knot alone. We have all sorts of Southern Weddings, and we have oodles of print as well. And I think it's kind of a little bit of a misconception in terms of publishing that print is dying. In our industry, we've definitely had net ads in the last few years. It's incredible, and we focus a lot on local. So we have local magazines coming out of our ears, actually, which is great. And we really support the local market because we believe that's really often the most useful to our vendor community and photographers to be published in their at-home publications. So we definitely have more digital than print, but we have a lot of print magazines, and there seem to be more and more, which is great.
Awesome. My second quick question is,
sure.
you were just acquired by XO Group,
Yes.
which owns The Knot,
Mhm.
and I wanted to know why was that something you wanted, and what does that mean for Two Bright Lights?
Sure. Couple of my teammates are in the back there, Kristen and Jason from XO, so please say hello to all of them if you have any questions. It was an interesting dynamic. I've met people from the XO Group and The Knot, I guess, for over 3.5 to 4 years now, and we always had a lovely dialogue. Wedding Channel, one of their properties, used our product for a long time. Maybe I just kept putting wishes on my pillow that The Knot would use our product eventually. But I think it was a combination of a couple of things for us, why it was interesting for me. I have a big vision for what I want this to be, and I love the fact that we do a lot of weddings and families and babies and travel, but I don't really want to stop there. And I think what was great about the XO Group is they understood this business model more than anyone else. I talked with a lot of VCs. I had offers for millions of dollars. I was a bootstrap business with friends and family, and no one really, I think, saw the potential that I did about the idea that people would exchange content for free that they've already been paid for also, but for publicity, and how important it was for small businesses, particularly entrepreneurs, to boost their visibility through print and through digital. And so it's just it was a really wonderful fit, and I feel I'm blessed every morning to be able to have my fabulous team here in San Francisco when they're headquartered in New York. But it's really wonderful. We have all the opportunities to have a public company behind us, but I still feel very much like a startup, and that's partly due to the founders are still a part of the Knot 18 years later. And so it was a really nice family to be a part of. So I feel very lucky. Mm-hmm.
Any last questions? We're out of time, but if anybody had a question? No? Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.